Welcome to the Super Facts Show on the Super Facts Network. Featuring St. Laz, who also hosts the popular web series Gem Pop and music journalist Mark Walter Ward. They have discussions about hip hop, culture, society, philosophy, and everything else. Now available on YouTube and wherever else you get your podcasts. What up, World Super Facts Show? Mark Walter Ward, Nick Perro. What up, Brody?
What up, man?
So shit, chilling. Sports wise, I guess. Well, tell me what you think of the Euro Cup. I see that was like a big deal. Italy over England, right?
Yeah, I mean, to me, Italy was the best team. So, I know England was super hyped for it, and like they're kind of the masters of failure. And there was part of me that because I watched so much of the English league wanted them, but there was also part of me like there was a hater inside of me. I got to admit that was like, man, English people are going to be so like they're going to be bragging about that, like it's going to be nonstop chatter, like. Luckily I don't, we don't live in England, so it's not going to be that big a deal here. But like, you know what I mean? It's like if the Knicks won the NBA championships, the Knicks fans are going to be popping out of the woodworks, and you'll be like, man, hold up. So it's kind of like the same deal. But nah, it was unfortunate too because at the end there, the penalties, the team I support, Arsenal, they have a 18. I think he's 18, 19, whatever. He's a youngin. was in line to take that last penalty, and then he missed it. So it's like that was a lot of the weight of a country on his shoulders at 18, and he kind of failed. But I'm sure he's going to recover from that. That's like one of those character building moments. So, but
unless you're Chris Webber,
yeah. Otherwise, great tournament.
Or Nick Anderson.
Honestly, I think the best team won anyways. Italy was the best team through the tournament, so well deserved. Hats off to them.
Hey, let me ask you this though. From what I have heard, because like I listen to mostly basketball or like intellectual, not to be pretentious podcasts and Marvel shit, but some of the best basketball journals or general sports shits like Ryan Russillo, Bill Simmons. So you hear some soccer talk, and apparently some people don't like how it ends in that shootout. What is that a new thing, and what do you think of it?
No, I think soccer heads and like pretty much man, I just don't know how you end it. Like unless you make it like I don't know, like a 2-part game. Like you say, okay, after 120 minutes, you just come back and play the next day. But I don't think that's very reasonable either. Because what are you going to do? Give the same fans another ticket? Like the final was on Sunday. What are you going to do? Play it on Monday? Like people got to work. So that's totally unrealistic. So I mean, it's literally the only way really to end these. And unfortunately, in these big tournaments like World Cup, Euros, like these teams play super defensive. They play more not to lose than to win. So to me, it's like, why don't you just come out knowing that like penalties is literally it's a coin toss. So be a little bit more aggressive in the final. But yeah, it's like the shootout, it does suck. I mean, as a neutral, it's great because you can just like, there's high tension and,
Right.
you don't have any emotional investment in it. So I think as a neutral, it's great. But otherwise.
As a neutral, would you say that the event overall was a good watch?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I would almost like imagine if in the NBA they did like game 7, it was like game 7 in the finals that you made it to OT and they're like, we'll give you 2 OTs. If y'all are still tied after 2 OTs, we're going to do every your starting 5 gets 2 free throws each. And whoever has the most free throws after that wins the game. You'd be like, what the fuck? Really? So it's not a direct comp, but that's
I could definitely dig it. I see the comparison because I mean, if not the directness, at least like the capriciousness of the outcome to be the two, especially after all that work.
Hey, at least with a shootout, you are going against an opponent versus like kind of just battling yourself. So I mean, I guess it is different in that sense, but it's kind of like, it comes down to like, it comes down to nerves almost. I feel like at that point.
Yeah, so, and I mean, and sometimes it just be luck though, because it could have been the grass got mowed a little way, and that shit got just a fraction of the ball or some shit. You know what I mean?
Or like, like kind of on the same vein, it's like you could be the last person taking it, and people are running up and down that spot, and let's say like somebody slips takes a big chunk of that grass. Now your footing ain't so, you know what I mean? Like you could be running up to take a kick, put your foot down to plant, and then you know if the turf's fucked up, then boom, you're slipping and you're gonna
Or the
take
dude
off.
before you might have had a real greasy foot.
Yeah.
Hey, see, look, I knew you needed a little bit of cheering up. So look, I know this will bring a smile to your face. Look, oh, it's my fucking camera. Look what I just got in the mail.
What?
It's a Billy Ho Funko. White man can't jump. Billy Ho.
All those like the little toys.
Yeah, like all these Jones.
Yeah, what are they called? I'm not even.
Funkos. They started like some comic book convention, and people really like them. And I think you can make them with a 3D printer. They're made out of vinyl and shit. And
Right.
you know, they make some of everything. I mean, you know, the music ones ain't the popping ones.
Oh,
like,
I see. I was like, how can you tell it's him? Okay, I see with the hat and the basketball. Yeah.
yeah, he even got his little ugly shoes and shit.
That's dope.
Yeah, like Salt and Pepper got their little leather jacket from the video and shit. You know, Quavo got a little Georgia jersey. You know, different ones of the biggies got different levels of like the little brown joint. He got kind of like a suede looking
Yeah, I
coat.
see. Damn, you got quite the collection. I remember noticing those before, but damn, now that you point them all out.
Yeah, there's Ice Cube in the back riding an
Speaking of
Impala.
Quavo, you know, I watched the home run derby the other night, and I was actually playing spades while I was doing it, so like I wasn't paying full attention. But after the home run derby, they showed that the softball game. And Quavo, it was so funny. He struck out DK Metcalf. I don't know, like I don't know how to describe it, but it was entertaining to watch. Like because
DK Metcalf, a football player, right?
yeah, DK, yeah, he's a bit like you could tell like he was trying to crush the ball, and I think that's mistaken. If I know anything about softball, the few times I played, if you go up there and think you're just gonna smash the ball every time, that's almost like the worst thing you can do because it's like I don't know, unless you played it a lot, like the time, like you really have to have your timing down. And so it's better just to kind of make contact than trying to crush it. And he was trying to crush it. And it was like funny because Quavo was trying to throw him, like Quavo really wanted to get him out. So I don't know. I was kind of geeking off that one at bat. I think I turned it off after that, but he was a pitcher.
I like shit like that. You know, on the Roku channel, I don't know if this intrigues you or not, but if you look hard on it, like just go to the sports category. This, and I'm not trying to be funny, but this must be between when right before Magic Johnson found out he had AIDS, and so maybe it never even got broadcast, but it's like they're in Hawaii, right? And it's like a 3-on-3 tournament, kind of like the Big Three,
Mhm.
but it's all like one active NBA player, one legend, and quote unquote legend, and one star, and it's got like Urkel and like Eric Estrada from Chips and Magic Johnson and Scottie Pippen and John Sally and shit, and they're playing like 3-on-3. And the little dude, Donald Faison, he ridiculously got his shit mopped by Urkel. Like if I knew how to do clips, I mean, I guarantee a motherfucker could virally TikTok that shit. Cause I mean, Urkel ridiculously mopped his shit. And advanced, I mean, he ain't get high, but he got high enough to like his hand was near the net. And he blocked dude's shit, and it came down on the ground and hit him up in the head like that.
No way.
Swear to God, man, that man, if somebody could find that 8-second clip, that's a viral TikTok jump waiting to happen right there.
Yeah.
But you remember that time I told you I was gonna hit you with that pop out list shit?
Go ahead.
Here's a and I'm sorry that this is not coming at your expense humorously. This is the five most spectacular athletic things I've ever seen in my own life with my own two eyes. In no particular order. I saw John Wall score his career high against the Grizzlies. That was fucking impressive as shit. I saw Gilbert Arenas score, I want to say 47 points in 31 minutes. That was fucking like incredibly impressive as shit. When I was playing basketball in PG County, and I hope I don't use the wrong term, and I hope I got the right school. I think it was Suitland, it might have been Crossland, but there was this kid that was born with like a arm that ended right here, and he was good, made all state and got a scholarship. Is that three so far? Yeah, that's three.
Yeah.
That's three so far. So Kurt Smith, he's a DC street ball legend. I saw him play at the Herbo. You might remember him from the 1988 Olympic team. He was the guy who got drafted by the Celtics, and before he was a rookie, got a hit and run that resulted in a death and a DUI. Got
Oh,
manslaughter. Never played in the NWA.
when you said hit and run, the reason
Never
I was
played.
thinking about, I was like, Davey played baseball too, and I was like, no, you mean hit and run, like
Yeah,
yeah,
no, no,
like the
no. Yeah,
criminal defense.
yeah, he never played in the NBA. I'm sure he played overseas a little bit. And the fifth was when you dove for a loose ball in a pickup game on a slanted court. You know, I swear I'm not making fun
You
of
were
you
there. I didn't. I was trying to remember who was there.
because I swear I ain't trying to make fun of you. Like you wanted to win so bad, and this is like some no stake shit. But people were playing hard. It wasn't like you was like playing with some 12-year-olds. You know, it was with cats that was of a decent talent level, and everybody was full court and everything. But you dove for a loose ball out of bounds, broke your arm on some Conor McGregor shit. Didn't cry or nothing. I can't remember who it was. I think it was, well, I won't say his name, but he who will not be named who went crazy came up to you and was like, "You good?" And like tried to like do your arm. You like, "Hell no, my shit's broke. I gotta go." Rolled the fuck out and popped that back up that night with a cast with a I don't know if it was a beer, but it was a beer or a rum and coke and a
Yeah,
and it was just the whole sequence was fucking spectacular.
yeah. I knew instant. That was the only bone I've ever broken. I knew it was broke instantly.
I mean, yeah, you could tell visibly. It wasn't as like it wasn't like you had like your bones sticking out your arm or anything, but you know,
Nah.
like forearms don't go in that direction. How's that healed as you get as it did it ever is it do you see any weakness
You
in it or
know,
anything?
it's still not got like I should have done the physical therapy, but it's I got pretty good mobility, but I can definitely tell like it happened to my right. So like this wrist, like just don't go like I'm not overly flexible anyways, but like that's as far as I can push it back. Like literally, like it doesn't go back where it's like I mean this one you probably can't tell on the video, but like there's definitely like my left is more flexible. I've lost some mobility, but like honestly, like for a while, I remember when it first happened and I was shooting, I was like, oh my God, I'm like, I'll never have a like a jumper again. And now I don't even notice it. So
I remember like your shot was real flat for a minute.
yeah, well, I like not like it was even worse. Like the mobility got much better as I just kind of I guess naturally just started moving it more after it healed. But like yeah, the first
I mean,
couple
you've
months I
always
was
been a
like,
pretty active guy though, bro. Like what would
yeah,
you
man,
say is
I
your
remember.
longest streak without exercising, even like let's say once a week? I mean, probably not ever, right?
Well, I definitely had some weeks where, but it's so intermittent. But no, I pretty. I mean, there might be some like little like vacations I usually don't work out, but overall, man, like nah, it hasn't. I usually don't go that long.
Because you know, like I hope you don't mind, and if not, then we won't even put this shit up. But you know, when you were much younger, you had anger issues somewhat, and looking back, you know, I kind of dealt with sobriety this way. I feel like you use like the endorphins and the time spent you get from you know from exercise to kind of be on a more even keel.
Definitely, definitely, absolutely. Like I think the yeah, getting those endorphins and then just kind of like burning off extra energy and stress. Like think about it. I think sometimes you don't even like it might like not that I was dealing with stressful situations, but man, just people kind of collect stress that I don't even feel like you realize, and it just adds up. And if you don't have a way of burning that shit off, then yeah. So for me, that I mean, it's still to this day, and that's why like I always get mad at myself when I like if I fall off enough where like I go from working out so intermittently that I'm not like my body doesn't crave it now. Shit, now that I'm back in the office, like we got a gym here, and it's like yesterday I most of the days, I should say on Monday, I was definitely like, fuck this. But I got my ass in there and I was like, I'll do 20 minutes, like just do something. And then guess what? I ended up staying for like 40 minutes because,
Yeah,
once,
that's what they
once I
say.
got
Yeah.
going, yeah, it took me a little longer to get going and I definitely didn't push myself as hard, but it was like, but it's like my body craves that. So it's like now I feel like
You
for
know how it's
anybody
like
looking,
that. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. My bad.
No, it's like once you get into that groove, man, it's like it almost like you get mad at yourself for not doing it, and it
Yeah.
adds that stress level even more. And then you get all types of other issues. You might eat more, you might drink more, smoke more, whatever it is.
Yeah, they like, in fitness there's like a lot of contradictory evidence to things, especially when you're looking up what to do for this or that. But one thing they all seem to agree on, and not even just like working out, like even like martial arts or boxing, it's better to go through the motions than it is to not do anything at all. So, like having a gym in your office and going in there and just going through the motions for 20 minutes, which turns into a 40-minute workout, boom.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm with you. It's like the old saying, it's like better do something than nothing. Like hell, even if you just walk for 1 mile, you that's one more mile that you done did. And then I think it's like moving kind of begets more moving. So like I was saying, like on Monday, if I didn't do shit, Tuesday there'd be a slighter higher percentage chance that I wouldn't do anything. But because I did something Monday, my body was already kind of used to the moving thing. So
Right.
that big time. It's like once you start doing stuff like that, like it's the opposite too. If you're lazy, if I'm like Friday night I didn't do shit, Saturday I just stayed on the couch, Sunday, and guess what? Monday's gonna come around and I'm gonna be like, oh, I gotta do this, and so I think it works both ways.
Well, that's why earlier, I was showing you how I had all that workout shit in my house. So like sometimes I just see it and be like, I might as well do something. You know what I mean? But back to your earlier point about the aggressions, or aggression in general. What do you think of like the whole toxic masculinity thing?
Does it still exist? I feel like, man, that's part of the cancel culture.
Because I mean, like, it seems like what's considered toxic masculinity is still celebrated as a virtue in sports and business, but not business hiring practices. Just like, like companies taking each other over and shit like that.
Oh, man, I gotta say, from my point of view, I don't toxic masculinity. I don't know. I feel like
I feel that's like one of the more contrived ones, you know what I mean? And even if it's not, I feel like there's more serious issues. Now, I mean, now, like, if a bunch of like aggressive men make a woman feel uncomfortable in workplace shit, that shit gotta go. But some of that shit that's labeled as like toxic masculinity just seems to be like normal male aggression. It seems like some alpha male shit.
exactly. Nah.
I think Biden and them motherfuckers want a bunch of beta motherfuckers. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's usually how beta leaders want to lead. They don't want people. They want yes men.
Yeah, no bullshit. It's cancel like I know you work in Miami, and that's a pretty diverse thing. And knowing you for years, you've never had no problem intermingling with with anybody really. I mean, we done hung out with gay cats at parties. Goddamn every ethnicity, male or female. I mean, in the DC area, there ain't one you ain't gonna run into at some point, especially going to all them college parties.
Yeah.
So like I don't know if I'd say you quote unquote woke, especially the way it means now, but like the way it used to mean, like you was aware of like oversentencing and shit before they was making documentaries. So you being you, who you got a pretty bulletproof record when it comes to racism. Even with rap songs, you never would inappropriately say the N-word. And I'm curious. Do you have to worry about getting canceled and saying the wrong thing or not, any of that type shit?
Say that again. So do I have to worry about what?
Well, at work, like do you ever have like think to yourself, I better be careful what I say and shit like that?
Oh,
I mean,
no.
outside of your foul ass mouth,
No, I know. Well, and I definitely had some meetings where I've casually cursed. But you know what? Like the leaders in my company kind of do that. So I already feel like I'm like, well, they do it. Like, like they're showing, and I'm not offended by it. So like, I don't care as long as it's not a curse word at me. Like, fuck you. Like that ain't right. But if it's just like, oh, this is like, we all know this is gonna be really fucking annoying to do, but let's get this shit done. Like, you know what I mean? Like throwing adding the fucking, add the emphasis, or like get this shit. So I found in a couple meetings I've done that, and I'm like, oh, I was like, apology, and I'm, just kind of chime back and I said, apologies for any offensive language, but No, the other thing I was gonna say that I'm just kind of conscious of is I work with a lot of people in India, so um you know I just try to be mindful because they're like super nice, and sometimes it's almost to a point of where I'm like, yo, we're cool now. I've been working with you for months. Like, you don't have to be so proper with me. Like, you don't have to say, hi, Nick, how's your day? Da, da, da. Like, you can be like, hey, Nick, do you got this for me? Or like, you know what I mean? Like, you can
They
skip.
can relax a little bit. I know. I
Yeah,
mean, I
exactly.
remember
Like,
when we worked at the Park Authority and them cats from El Salvador were like so careful, like not to jaywalk and stuff, like almost like they was afraid that if they got in any trouble, they'd have to go back
oh
to their
no,
country.
and that's a fact. Like, yeah, I mean, and I've been trying to like kind of get a lot of those guys on the level where, like you were saying, is like I feel like, they're like, okay, you know, we're getting well paid for our country by this American company. So like we gotta kiss like they're like, they kind of kiss ass, and it's probably not the PC thing to say, but since I'm telling you, it does feel like they do a lot of like, and they are yes men. So I've been trying to empower them and being like, look, man, like you guys are all smart. Like they're all undoubtedly smart, and they're just as capable of doing a role as any American worker. So
I'm
I
sure.
I think it's the one thing that makes, and inferior is not the right word, but I'm not sure of what the right word, but like that kind of holds them back from the American is like, I'll speak my mind to whoever, like anybody above me, where it's like they don't speak their mind to anybody but people below them. And it's more of a command thing. You know what I mean? Like they respect the
Well, they got
hierarchy.
that. This is like that caste system shit, right? I mean, they're psychologically trained from birth to be like that.
I'm not even sure how, like, if it's a true culture thing with them. I think it's just like, they're like, we got a good, like, this is a good job and we don't want to fuck it up. Like, so we'll just be yes men because that's a safe route. And they
Hey, I
don't
mean,
mind the work either.
I ain't gonna knock that. I can respect that shit.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if the work day doesn't bother them too much, you know. I mean, if it makes them all miserable, but I mean, that's neither here nor there. So,
Yeah.
like, kind of keeping in the same vein, and we'll wrap it up real quick. As a single man on the dating scene, have you had to take things like that into consideration, and then sharing a story you may have heard from someone else? Like, you know, when you watch a lot of these TV shows these days, when there's about to be sex scenes, it's like they gotta stop and be like, "Is it okay if I touch your breasts? Is it okay if I touch your bra?"
You talk about the Curb Your Enthusiasm episode.
Well, I mean, I've seen it on other things, but yeah, definitely on Kurt. Yeah, definitely. So I'm
I
just
actually watched
curious,
some things
like,
as
you know,
well.
I'm not necessarily saying you yourself, because you know, guys talk. Is that something that people are
Oh,
dealing with?
oh yeah, no. You want to know something funny? Actually, I'm gonna tell you a story. One of these last girls I met from online dating, right? Might have been second date. She was like, "Hey, let's just kiss and get it like this out of the way." And I was like, "All right." And then like later that night, she's like, you need to show more aggression, like da da da, like. And I'm like, all right, I take it cool. Like I don't want to, come off as being like, this, like overly aggressive or make you, I was like,
Like
what?
intimidating them and shit. Yeah.
Exactly. So then get this, like we ended up having sex a couple days later, and then like we hung out one day after that. Everything was smooth, and then like on it was a Friday, and she was like, "Hey," because we were supposed to hang out again, and she goes, "Hey, she's like, I'm gonna call you. I got something I want to like, tell you." And she's like, "Look, I don't want you to come over and like expect sex and like all this." Well, I'm sorry. Actually, even before that, she criticized me for not being aggressive, right?
Right.
One night we have sex, I was, whatever. I saw my opening, I took it. and then all of a sudden, like the next time I see her, she's like, like don't come over here thinking that. And I'm like, so you're giving me mixed messages. Oh, great, you're telling me I'm not like, I'm not being aggressive, but then, all of a sudden you have to check me. And I told her, I was like, you could have just like, this didn't need to be said. Like this could have just been like, you know, you could have like, I'll take hints if somebody doesn't want to. It's pretty obvious when somebody's down and when they're not.
Man, she kind of had you in county jail and then gave you the sentence. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? Because you in the like waiting, like, yeah, I feel you. That would be.
yeah. So there's definitely been those instances where like mixed messages, but overall, like, yeah, I don't know, like I will say, I think I tread a little bit lighter because I just, I almost feel like it's not even like the cancel culture shit. It's more of just like your boy doesn't want to like to make a move and then have it be like, so.
Yeah, you ain't trying to get curved. I feel you.
Oh,
All right, so then let's finish out real quick with the NBA Finals. You know, one thing I ain't heard too many people talking about, and I'm sure Phoenix has some misses, but like outside of Sarge and Kaminsky, which they traded for Kaminsky, but when you see Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson and some of the other people they got coming off the bench, and then like all these teams, like it's kind of like it's because the end of their rotation is hurt. They suffer outside the Nets. Man, it really shows the value of teams that know how to pick well in the middle of the draft. Shout out Chris Middleton.
yeah. Well, and the Wizards got to pick in the middle, so hopefully they can do something similar.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have had no faith, but like I said, I really like Scottie Shepard, and when I had both little NBA people on the things, they're talking about how like the Wizards have improved the training facility since Scott Shepard took over and all this other stuff. So I'm definitely cool with that. As far as the actual gameplay of the finals, I guess game 2 and 4 were above average. I mean, Giannis is having an all-time performance, and I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to a game 7, and I don't really have a pick.
You said what?
I said, and I don't really have a pick. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to game 7.
Oh,
because it seems like every team that loses misses a lot of shots. So I mean, let's see what happens if there's a game where they're both making shots.
Yeah. Man, I'm trying to think because the first 2 games were so discouraging, and I think I told you a couple, like, or maybe our last joint. I like the Bucks, but I knew the Suns were going to be a problem. Like they thoroughly impressed me. You know what? I think it was whatever. The Clippers series went to 6, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it went to 6. So game 6, that was a dirty ass play by Pat Beverly, and I fucks with Pat Beverly, and he knew it. He came out and apologized. That was dirty, and I would have like. I guess I can't be mad at Chris Paul for if he, kind of got that asshole tendency, but I think it was when he got Boogie Cousins a fucking technical and then was like clapping and like doing like get him out. Like I was like, dude, you're a clown, bro. Like I don't know. And honestly, once again, putting on my hater hat, I'm going for the Bucks all the way just because I think Chris Paul's an asshole.
Well, remember number 1 on the list of the people I wouldn't want to play with. It's like sometimes, man, I'd rather have fun and lose. Well, I guess not have fun and lose, but I just want to win that way. That shit would blow the fuck out of me. Like, and have this Bama yelling at me all the time and shit.
It's like I get it. He and the way he got the technical was so suspect. Like I think Cousins may have came over a little bit with his elbow, but like he like put his neck in the dude's elbow. And like I don't know, and then just the celebration of the technical and act like doing a celebration of like trying to get him thrown out the game. I was like, come on,
but how is that not taunting?
Yeah,
because I thought they get text for taunting, like that little bullshit. I wish they had never even added none of that to the NBA.
It was a game 6 that I was like, nope, I'm 100%. Like there's like I have a clear cut who I'm rooting for, and it was the Bucks. But all right, now taking off my hater hat. Man, it's gonna be tough because they clearly don't have any answer for Giannis, and as long as he doesn't get in foul trouble, which he is definitely highly prone to, he seems to get at least 1 offensive foul a game, if not 2. But if he can stay out of foul trouble, I know Drew got it going a little bit. Middleton was a little bit better, but like, man. If these guys I always say they got to get 35 combined from those guys, which ain't asking for much, but they got to give them 35 combined a night. And then if Giannis, 40 is a lot to ask from Giannis, but I thoroughly expect him to average in the 30s this series. I think that's the recipe for them winning. And then, the Suns just, I swear, I feel like they hit all the shots like their open looks. They just like hardly ever miss. I think it was game 1. Jay Crowder was 0 for 8, 0 from 6 from the 0 for 6 from the 3. And then I think it was last game. I knew I was like, Jay Crowder's gonna have one of like a 70% shooting game. And I think it was last game, he was like 6 for 7 from 3. So hopefully that kind of balances out. But man, it's going to be interesting. Like, I think tonight obviously is a pivotal one. I mean, all the games are pretty much pivotal now. You know, like the first two, you can kind of see the Bucks slumping behind, but if they, you know, they lose this one, then they're on the ropes, and it's hard to go, you know, 4 down or win 4 straight. I guess LeBron's done it, but yeah, it's a tough one to call. Like I said, neutral hat. I still probably give it to the Suns just because they've shown consistency. And to be honest, they play great basketball, man. They seem to they work the ball, they play as a team, like they pass it, they make the right
I
passes.
mean, as long as Aiden stay out of foul trouble, though, man, that man Kaminsky was scared to death of
Oh,
that basketball.
no.
He wasn't making the right passes.
But yeah, and that's definitely shown now too. Like, you know, like knocking out Sarge and having to rely on Frank is like, it's not the answer. And
Nah.
I think overall the Bucks are killing them on the offensive boards. Like over the 3 games, I think they're I don't have the numbers, but I feel like I've been looking at the box score, like studying it after every game, and they're probably like plus. I wouldn't say, I'd say on average over the first 3, they're probably like plus 6 or 7 on the offensive glass. So yeah, you're right. Without Aiden, that's probably the most critical part. Like if Aiden gets in foul trouble or just is ineffective, yeah, they're done. I mean, because I think Drew has enough to. And you know what? Going back to game 1, I was getting so pissed. I was like, how did not Coach Bud know that they were just going to be switch? They were going to take, they were going to find Brook Lopez. Now I will say this: Brook Lopez has played less minutes the last 2 games, but they were just seeking him out every time, and they switch him so easy like that. Irritates the shit out of me.
Did you hear when Van Gundy was saying that the is overrated, you know, that they pile on Bud unfairly, and he pointed out that how he made an adjustment, and his fucking adjustment was putting Drew Holiday on Chris Paul. So putting the best defensive player on your team, especially on the perimeter, on the point guard who's been killing you. What a spectacular basketball adjustment.
Like what was he up all night with a whiteboard? What's the connection? How can I stop it?
Yeah, and then let me finish with this. My bad. You got something else on that?
No, that's all. I was just gonna pile on to that joke.
I know no one would agree with this, but I swear to God, DeAndre Ayton, DeAndre Ayton, he remind me of an athletic, tall Gortat, like Marcin Gortat's like the strong version, and he's the life jumping version. And I swear to God, he should watch Marcin Gortat tapes because he's like, you know, like how they be like somebody's like the poor man's version. Like Marcin Gortat would be like the dead man's version of DeAndre Ayton at his ceiling if he just played that game, that screen and roll game. Because look how easy Gortat used to make for people to score. And imagine Booker having that for 5 or 6 years, and he'd be a much more capable threat in the pick and roll. Because I mean, Gortat would catch the easy Johnson dunk, but he wasn't rising up bammers and catching alley oops like Ayton can.
Yeah.
And if he's got that into his mind instead of trying to be some Joel Embiid type, that man, unstoppable. I love Ayton.
Yeah. No, I already knew Booker was good, but he's kind of he you know, as a Wizards fan, it's one of these questions. Like I feel like as I'm watching him play, I'm like, would I rather have Booker? And I mean, fuck the age thing. If you take the age thing out of it, it's like, man, would I rather have Booker or Beal? And that's like, it's a tough one to call. And then
I'd rather have Booker just because he's a better 3-point shooter, and that's more important. And he's a better defender. I mean, not by much, but then that might be Beal get wore out. He played more minutes and shit. You know, the Suns were blowing teams out, yada yada, playing less in the 4th. The Wizards was fighting for a playing spot. I think I rather would have had a chance at the lottery, but hey.
Yeah. No, but you're right. Aiden's probably impressed me the most of all the Suns.
Except for Cam Johnson in one shining moment.
How about that dunk though?
Yeah.
That shit almost. If it wasn't laying on the couch watching the game, I would have stood up. If I was sitting upright, I would have been like, "Yo!" I think it might have put me from laying down to sitting up. That shit was crazy, man. I was like, and then I couldn't believe they fucking challenged it. I was like, come on. Like, I mean, I guess it was kind of close, but you know,
Hey, I feel like if you make that jump, fuck if it's close, you should just automatically get it. If you dunk it
yeah,
cleanly, but I mean, you know,
you know,
I like above the rim better than I like I don't know, Hoosiers. You feel me?
but
But
it's
yeah,
like,
bro. Oh, go ahead. My bad.
I would say for the Suns, I think their biggest question is just how to stop Giannis now because he looks like he's on his, for once again lack of like Jordan shit. Like, I mean, obviously not making turnaround fadeaway jumpers, but like just being like, yo, give me the rock, I'm getting to the hoop. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Like it's Shaquille O'Neal versus the Pacers shit.
he looks like he knows he's the best player on the damn court, and he's acting like it, like demanding the ball. And I mean, Ayton, I guess, did a decent job like the first game, I guess, kind of. But like, man, he can blow. If Ayton has to get him, where he's like 20 feet from the rim, I feel like with Giannis ahead of steam, he's just beating him.
It is nothing. But bro, you know, in the first game, Giannis couldn't really do his Euro step, and you can tell his knees much better now. Yeah, now that's nothing.
So, I mean, for me, the keys are the Suns have to try to figure out a way to slow him down a bit. And I don't know if that's doubling quickly or what, and then they just got to continue shooting how they've been shooting the whole playoffs. And I think they'll win. But, yeah, we'll see. Like I said, I'm rooting for the Bucks because I think Giannis is the best, and I'm also because I'm hating on Chris Paul. But right now, like, it's still a toss-up to me. I think the Suns play better team ball, but like, sometimes you got that one alpha on your team that makes all the difference.
I mean, especially in basketball. Yeah, bro. Hey, I hear your area's getting more traffic. I appreciate you taking time to do this impromptu episode, and let's get a more fuller with some topics and shit in soon.
All right, cool, man. Well, yeah, looking forward to the game tonight, man. We hopefully by next time when we link up again, we'll have more games to analyze here. We can form a better opinion on where we see it falling now.
No doubt, bro. Well, shit. Thanks for your time.
All right, man. I'll see you. Peace.
All right. Nick Perro, Mark Ward, Super Facts Network.